Greetings, comrades. This is Andre Aguilas Desjardins for Ravnica Allegiance's Crack-a-packs. So, I've done a few draft Ravnica Allegiances so far, and just thought I'd share thoughts. Alright. So the first one we have is Persistent Petitioners. It is 1 blue, 1 colorless for a 1/3. 1 mana and tap it to put the target player puts the top card of the library into their graveyard. Tap 4 untap advisors you control. They mill the top 20 cards. And then that has text that doesn't matter for us limited players, where a deck can contain any number of copies of Petitioners. I think this is a D. I really don't think you want a 1/3 for 2. That really doesn't do anything. Sometimes you will. They'll rarely be the Petitioners deck. There's only one other advisor, and it's at rare, so you only want a 1/3 for 2. That's what you should treat it as. In that case, it's a D. You probably don't want it. Sometimes you'll bring it in, but it's not very good. Alright, here's a card that's much better. Scorch Mark. It's 1 red, 1 colorless. For an instant, it deals 2 damage to target creature, and if the creature would die, exile it this turn. This is like a C+. It's pretty good removal. It's what I'm picking so far. And the actual exile, it does come into play a bit due to the afterlife effect. So, yeah, I'm giving it a C+. It's still not great, the best removal, but it's good, cheap removal. Alright, next up we have Bring to Trial, which is 1 white, 2 colorless for a sorcery. Exile target creature with power 4 or greater. These cards are like C's when they're 4 mana for an instant, and I think this makes it like a D+. The fact it's sorcery speed, really not looking to... I'm never thrilled to play cards like this to begin with because it's conditional, but at least with an instant you can like kind of get them sometimes. White, blue has just better... White, blue, and white black has just better removal anyway, so D-, D, not looking to play this, but you can. Alright, Mammoth Spider, reprint from Dominaria. It's 1 green, 4 colorless for a 3/5 reach. If you need more legs, this is the card for you. This is a C, solid playable, happy to play it in my green decks. Awesome sideboard card, often against flyers. It's hard for the Dimir decks to deal with it in combat, but still replaceable. C. Alright, Consigned to the Pit. This is not efficient removal. It's 1 black, 5 colorless for a sorcery. Destroy target creature, deals 2 damage to that creature's controller. It's like a C, C-. I've never been thrilled with this card whatsoever. I'll play 1 copy in my deck if I have to, but not looking forward to it. So yeah, C-. I'm still on Scorch Mark. Next up is Rafter Demon. It is black, red, and 2 colorless for a 4/2. It is a demon. It has a Spectacle for an additional colorless mana, so that brings it up to 5. And if you play the Spectacle cost, each opponent discards a card. This is like a C, C- in the Rakdos deck. Oftentimes they won't have cards for the Spectacle cost, or you just want to play it as a 4/2. So yeah, it'll make the cut, but it's my least favorite like gold Rakdos common that they have. It's one of my few ones I didn't play in sealed. Alright, next up we have the Lockets. This one's for the Azorius. They're all 3 colorless. Tap for a white or a blue, and then for the 4 hybrid mana you can tap and sack it to draw 2 cards. I really like the Gruul and the Azorius Lockets because they're the clans that are guilds, that are most likely to need the ramp. And then the Azorius Locket likes the card draw after. The Azorius is a bit down because blue-white already has some card draw in it. Like this is C-. There's no need to first pick this. If you want one, you'll find a Locket along the way. Alright, Blade Brand. It is 1 black, 1 colorless for an instant. Target creature gains Death Touch until end of turn. Draw a card. We've had this before as Necrobite at 3 mana. The 2 mana makes it a lot better. You can cycle it at the end of your turn if your opponent has end of your opponent's turn if they have a creature and you just need to draw a card. Otherwise, it's a pretty okay removal spell. One thing to note with Footlight Fiend, it can actually kill 2 creatures. One the creature blocks or is blocked by, and then one the creature deals damage with. Overall, I think this is a pretty good card. C+. I'm still going to take Scorch Mark over it, but if you took it, I wouldn't blame you. And here's a card that I just think beats all the others right out. It's Skewer the Critics. It's 1 red, 2 colorless for sorcery that deals 3 damage to any target. That's already perfectly playable, but it has a Spectacle cost of 1 red mana. So Spectacle is, if your opponent was dealt damage this turn, you can pay the Spectacle cost instead. This makes it great, the fact you can double spell on turn 3 or 4 after hitting damage, or just use it to get the blocker out of the way otherwise for 3 mana. This is like a B-. It's what I'm picking so far. I think it easily beats the other two. Next up is Growth Spiral. It is 1 blue, 1 green for an instant. Draw cards. You may put a land card from your hand into play. Simic needs some ramp. This is a fair way to do it. It has a very high floor, low ceiling. It's a very average card as it cycles late game also. Like C, you'll play it in your Simic decks, but there's no need to prioritize picking it. You want to take the better Simic creatures instead. Alright, we're uncommon, so I'll take out the token, illusion token. Love this mythic that creates it, by the way. Gruul Guild Gate, so we have the cycle of gates again. This one's the red-green one. I think all the gates are great. They're C+. You should take them over most commons when you know you're in that color. I would still take Skewer the Critics over the gate, though, because it's just that efficient. Next up, we have Claymore Shaman. It is 1 red, 2 colorless for a 1/1 Goblin Shaman. Shaman powers with Riot, and Riot is when it enters the battlefield, you can choose haste or give it +1/+1 counter. And when it attacks, target creature opponent controls can't block this turn. So this is probably more of a Rakdos card than a Gruul card, though it obviously is playing Gruul also. But how this is probably going to happen, you're probably going to see it often, is the haste mode, so I can attack with my 2-drop and have it so you can't block. Then you have to play another guy, and then I hopefully get to skewer the critics on your other guy and get to bash in again and put you far behind. If they don't have a creature, it's fine. I'll put a +1/+1 counter on it. It's, in the aggressive decks, one of the must-kill creatures. All that being, I think it's a B-. All that being said, I'm still going to take Skewer the Critics over it, just because I think, one, it's overall better, it's a better late game draw, and just the tempo you can get from the Spectacle is amazing. But if you're in the Rakdos deck, you may actually take the Claymore Shaman over it. Alright, here's a good Simic card. It's the Frilled Mystic. So this is the CCDD cycle, or 2 of one, 2 of the other. This is the green-blue. It has Flash. When it enters the battlefield, you may counter target creature spell. It's a 3/2. You are going to pick this if you know you're in Simic almost over everything, because it's a really easy 2-for-1. Be it Flash, counter the spell, or just jump in and munch a smaller dude. I generally like to avoid these first pick because it's such a heavy mana requirement, especially against something so solid as Skewer the Critic. So as a first pick, it's like a C+, but if you're in Simic, it then jumps to a B. It's a very powerful card when you know you're in those 2 colors. Next uncommon is Resolute Watchdog. He's a good boy. He is 1 white mana for a 1/3 defender, which is fine. You can sacrifice him to target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. Obviously, you don't want him to be aggressive, but white really isn't that aggressive in this set. He's a great Orzhov card to hold down the ground early and then help protect your bigger thing later, but all in all, C-. He'll make my deck. Not really looking to first pick him. I mean, he'll make the deck fine. He gets better the bigger bombs you have, so if you have a big Angel or a Seraph of the Scales, he gets better because he helps protect from all the burn and kill spells that can hit your big bomb. But you need the big bomb first. So if you first pick a big bomb, he'll probably, a big, Azorius or Orzhov bomb, he'll probably table, and then you can pick him up. But C- just to randomly put him in your deck. And the rare, we have Progressive Perception, which I had in the pre-release and the sealed. It is 2 blue, 3 colorless for an instant. Draw 3 cards, but it has addendum. If you cast a spell during your main phase, instead scry 3 and then draw 3 cards. Both of these effects are very powerful. With the Azorius and the Simic decks, you can often hold mana up for adapts or counter spells, then do this at the end of your turn. But if you can, you really want to cast this on your main phase because Scry 3 is huge. The difficulty in draft is going to be getting to the point where you can cast this. And I haven't drafted enough games to know how often that's going to happen. Because the Rakdos decks are really good. Like, you don't have time to cast this against the Rakdos deck. And then the Gruul decks, oftentimes, this will only be 5 mana, draw 3, which is still playable. I'd give it a C+, but it could go a lot higher than that. I think in Sealed, it's a B. I think in Sealed, it's super powerful. But in Draft, it's probably only a C+. But that leaves me first picking the very boring but very solid common card, Skewer the Critics. And I have to say, I really do like the art on it, where there's this spear at the end, but then all the wax from the candle immediately cauterizes the wounds. So that's very nice. So this has been Andre Aguides Desjardins. Thank you and have a good day.